What's up, guys? So, I know this is not a fishing video. It sort of still is a fishing video, but it was blowing 20 miles an hour today, and I didn't really want to go fishing. So, I thought instead of doing that for y'all, because I still want to make as many videos as possible for y'all and grow my channel, and so I thought I would tie a fly for y'all. So, that's what I'm going to be doing today. This fly is, probably my favorite fly for panfish. I've caught so many bluegill, green sunfish, long ears, red breasts, you get it, panfish. So I've caught so many panfish in little creeks just using this tiny little fly. It's called a triangle bug, and I've kind of altered it. I'm sure some people have done this, but I've made it a lot smaller. It's usually like a bass fly, and so I made it smaller for tiny little bluegills, and I've had so much fun over the summer when they're eating topwater, and it's, who needs a big bass boat and a huge lake to go catch 10-pounders when you can do this? So, this is my favorite panfish fly, as I already said, and we're gonna tie it. So, hang on for a second. I want to show you my awesome setup that I've got right here for my fly tying. So, alright, so here it is. First we've got the loom light right here. So this is like basically just an LED light. It comes with a bunch of filters. I can put that in the link in the description. And then we've got our camera. This is a Canon EOS 60D. It's not my camera. It's my parents', but who cares? It's got a long lens on, like a close-up, so you can see my fly right here. There's all my stuff right there. Looks pretty professional. So anyway, there's my setup right there. I think that's it. Let's just start tying this fly. Okay, guys, so what I'm tying today is this little triangle bug. I'll show you the end product right here. So just tied this one not that long ago. Great little panfish fly, especially in little creeks. That's like, it's so fun. If you get just a little creek, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be wild at all. I mean, I fished this fly in a creek that's like about 2 minutes on bike from my house, and I catch the mess out of them on this little fly. So what I'm starting with is some tan thread. It's pretty thick. I don't know the gauge, but it's tan thread. So just gonna start laying our thread on the hook. And I'm gonna take it all the way basically to the barb. Now I'm just gonna cut this little guy off right there. So now what I'm gonna do for the little tail, so I'm gonna take this is Supreme hair, some White River Supreme hair. This is the olive color. So take just a little chunk out of that. Just for the tail, we don't need a lot. So after you get that hair wrapped in, I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. Oh, actually no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take just a little bit of Pearl Crystal Flash. It's from Cabela's, but you can use whatever brand you want. And I'm just gonna take just a little bit, like a tiny bit, just so that I can get a little bit of flash in there. I'd say probably like 3 or 4 tiny pieces. Yeah, that's perfect right there. Okay. That's 5 little pieces, so I'm just gonna cut that right here. And just tie that back in with that hair that we already tied. So, and you can kind of just mix it in there with those other hairs and it'll look great. Now I'm just gonna wrap this about, not all the way up, but just enough to get some bulk onto the fly. And then I can go ahead and trim that right there. So go ahead and cover that stuff up, those little strands. Okay, so now what we need to do is put on the legs. So I've got these little yellow and black legs. If you don't have these, you could take a couple strands off of a spinnerbait or a jig or a chatterbait, but you can also buy little bundles of them like this. So I just took one whole leg off, and now I'm just gonna split it into two. I think is fine. Alright, so now I've got two pieces. I'm gonna bring my thread down a little bit and just wrap your leg, one half of your leg, like this, onto the thread. So it's just sliding right there on the thread. So now I can just wrap that on. And slide it to the side. So, and then we're going to take our other half and do the same thing. And it's okay if it doesn't line up perfectly, because later we're going to have to trim these anyway. So there we go, there's a second half. So now we got some legs on our little triangle bug. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. Now we're going to take our foam body. This is what's going to make the fly what it is. So we've got a little like a diamond shaped piece of foam. This is tan foam, obviously. I've got some Orvis tan. I poked a tiny little hole in the middle of that little diamond. We're going to take our thread and bring it back towards the little tail so that it's out of the way for us. Alright, there you go. So now our thread's out of the way. We can take our diamond and just slide it up on the eye of the hook. And your hole does not need to be very big, because if it's too big, then it can slide off. But if it's like, make it super small, because then you can get it to fit over your eyelet of your hook, and it'll be perfect. So there we go, just like that. And so what this is going to do is it's going to fold over like that, and now we've got a little, there you go, that's what it's going to look like. So what we need to do is we need to hold our legs up and out like this so that we can secure that back end of our little triangle. There we go. Now we can move this out of the way, move this out of the way. Don't need a whole lot of pressure for this. There you go. So we can just start securing that little foam piece like that. And it helps if you have someone to hold it for you, or if you've got a little, I don't know, you could use some pliers or tweezers or something to hold those legs, but it works fine just doing it like this too. So now that we've got that part secure, we're gonna have to take this and go like that and secure that part too. So just gonna do that real quick. There we go. Just get a few wraps in there. We're gonna have to take some super glue or some UV glue, whichever one you want, but I use super glue because I'm cheap. I'm just gonna secure that foam on there. I like to basically wrap it until you can't really see that foam peeking out anymore. So just keep on wrapping. There we go. Alright, I think that's probably pretty good like that. So now we can start trimming stuff up. I think the tail is honestly perfect already. You don't want your tail to be like back here, because if it's too long, then the bluegills that I've been catching on this fly have been pretty small. Obviously you can tie bigger ones and catch bigger fish, but the ones that have been eating this one have been pretty small, and so you have to get that tail to where it's not interfering with the hook point, because if you have it back here, they're just going to start nipping at the tail and you won't get a hook in. So I keep the tail rather short, about maybe ½ an inch at most. And so now I'm going to start trimming my legs. So I like to have probably about, let's see, this is the one that I did earlier. I mean, you can see how long that is, so I'm just going to trim to that size. We're just going to go like that. I think that's a good size. And I like to make both legs about the same length. You can, after you've done that, then you can trim. I would always recommend to trim longer than you would like, because if you trim shorter you can't go back, but if you trim longer than you would like, then you can still adjust. So I think those are probably pretty good. Let me look at it for a second. I think that one's a little too long. There we go. So I think that's pretty good. Now the way that I secure this, because I don't want to wrap it around this foam body, because then it's going to start getting on it, and like, so to secure this, I'm not going to take my thread and put it up next to the hook eye. So what I like to do is I'm going to take this fly off of the vise real quick, turn it around, put your hook eye in your vise, tighten it really tight, because you don't want this thing falling out while you're trying to secure it. And you take your whip finishing tool, just throw a couple on there and finish it right behind the behind your foam. Just try to avoid those legs as much as possible, because they'll get stuck in your finish, and you obviously don't want that. Okay, so got my tail caught in the, oh come on. No, hang on. I've got a little straggler hanging out. Okay, so now all we got to do really is cut off our piece of thread, and then just for, I mean, you obviously don't have to do this, but I'm going to take some super glue, just a little tiny dot of super glue, and put it on the back of where you finished. Perfect. And I like to just use a little toothpick and just rub it onto that thread so that it doesn't come loose. If you've got a good finish, you won't really need this, but just to be safe, I'm gonna put some super glue on there. And as I said before, you can use some UV glue if you have that, but super glue works just as fine for me. Alright, so thanks for watching that fly tie. Let me know in the comments like how y'all like this video idea, this series idea. I think it's a pretty good idea, because so many people don't have like the big bass boats and all the bass gear and all that stuff, and some people just don't like fishing for bass. So this is something literally anyone can do, because the fly rods, they don't have to be expensive. Fly tying gear doesn't have to be expensive, and you can go find any little random ditch, and it's probably got bluegill in it. So, well, not bluegill, people are gonna be mad at me for saying that, but panfish. And so anyone can do this, and I thought it'd be a pretty good idea to just kind of cater to everyone in my videos, because I feel like that's how I'm gonna be able to grow my channel and get it big. And so this little guy right here, that little guy right there, it's a killer. So I think this is appropriate. We're gonna add it to the board. My dad made this little driftwood, I don't know what to call it, like a plaque sort of for my channel. So here it goes, the little fly. Oh no, I dropped it. Right here, the little fly. We're just gonna stick that guy right there on the wood. I think that's appropriate, don't you think? Maybe we can fill up that little driftwood board, that'd be sweet. Get a bunch of flies that I tie for y'all, just fill that thing up, that'd be so cool. So anyway, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked the fly tie. I think it's a good idea, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah. All right, peace.